So one of my kids' favorite lunches that they request frequently is the Lunchable. Now, I'm not talking about this kind of Lunchable, although that's how they originally learned the word, was from school and seeing Lunchables. And if you're like me, you probably grew up on this kind of thing. But when you flip it over and look at the ingredient list, you realize that none of this is actually real nourishing food. It's not doing our kids any good. It's not giving them the vitamins and the minerals and the healthy fats, everything they need to thrive and to stay focused throughout the school day. Instead, this is just basically it actually says on here, it's a cheese product. It's not even real cheese. It's simply a cheese product. It's a bunch of chemicals that have come together to create this thing that looks, well, I mean, it doesn't even look like real cheese. It looks like plastic, but to look like cheese. As well as some turkey meat that is so highly processed. It contains so many different, I'm reading it right now, it contains so many different chemical fillers in order to keep it on a shelf for a long time. It also contains crackers and cookies that are full of, again, chemical ingredients and chemicals aren't bad. I mean, baking soda is a chemical, but chemical ingredients that you would never stock in your kitchen that are simply not real ingredients, but are designed to make a cheap imitation product of the real thing. So instead of serving this, it is so easy to actually make Lunchables at home, and it doesn't require much time at all. So today in this video, I am going to show you how to make 3 variations of a homemade Lunchable. Now these are my kids' favorite Lunchable knockoffs, you could say. The first is a Lunchable made with meat, turkey, and cheese, similar to what this is designed to be, except we're talking about real meat and real cheese and crackers that contain ingredients that you actually recognize, which means your body recognizes them, real ingredients. We're also talking about a different variation, which is a vegetarian-friendly variation, which my daughter absolutely loves. My son, not so much. He likes the meat and cheese and cracker variation. But London loves the veggie variation, which is hummus and pita that's been cut up, along with some veggies. So you can dip all of those different components into the hummus. The third variation is a knockoff of a pizza Lunchable, which London came home last year and saw one of her friends have at lunchtime and asked, hey, could we make something like that? First of all, it made me so excited and proud, if I'm being honest, to hear her say the words, can we make something like that? I mean, the fact that she in her head knew that you actually make food. You just don't go to the store and pick something up, that you actually make it. Like, she thought that her friend must have made that, but it was actually a Lunchable. So this is basically pizza dough, or you can use pita bread and cut it into, like with a biscuit cutter, something like this. You can cut it into circles, and then some sauce, and then some shredded real mozzarella cheese. That's it. And you put that in the lunchbox, and they can build their own pizza Lunchables. So let me show you how to build each of these variations. The great thing about Lunchables is they don't require much time cooking at all. I mean, you can cook your own meats. Like I have a whole chicken here that I've just shredded up from a previous dinner. Or you can buy some deli meat that is very minimally processed. So it's not the same thing as this highly processed lunch meat you're gonna find in here from trusted brands like Applegate or True Story brand. Or by going to the deli at something like Whole Foods or a health food store, they generally have sometimes freshly cooked meats that they'll slice up in deli meat form for you. But other than actually cooking a meat, if you want to do that, or blending up a hummus, or buying a quality store-bought hummus, there's not a lot of prep that actually goes into a Lunchable. So it makes them a really easy lunch to pack, and also something that's super fun for the kids, because many times kids see their friends having something like this, and this makes them feel a part of that, but they're also getting a super nourishing meal, not something that's going to leave them, with empty calories and something that's not going to provide the actual fats and the vitamins and minerals and nourishment that they need throughout the day. Okay, so let's build these Lunchables. I think your kids are going to love them because they're super fun. Now, to make the first Lunchable, I'm going to do a meat, cracker, and cheese Lunchable, very traditional Lunchable. And for the meat, you can use cooked chicken. So maybe you have a little bit of leftover chicken from a previous dinner. This is perfect to use in a Lunchable style meal. You can cut that up or shred that and use that as the meat. Or if you want to take a quicker route and you're not cooking a chicken that week, you can always buy some deli meat. Now, when it comes to buying deli meat, make sure you flip over the package and read that ingredient list. The ingredients should be recognizable. They should be things that you would use in your own kitchen. And if the animals are pasture-raised animals, that's even better. So my favorites are from Applegate and True Story brand. And if you have a Whole Foods or a health food store in your area, many times they actually cook meat in their deli section and will shred them up or slice them up in deli style for you. So that's another option. Then I'm gonna choose a cheese. Oh, there's so many different kinds of cheeses you can use. You could use cheddar, you could use Monterey Jack, you could use Asiago, you could use Parmesan. I recommend buying cheese on a block and then cutting it, because this way you can use that cheese in other ways throughout the week for dinner, whatever you need it for, and you're actually getting more for your money, and you also don't have some questionable ingredients in the mix, which are oftentimes added to pre-shredded cheeses. So buy it in a block and just cut it up in cheese cubes. If you want to save yourself some time and do some prep, you can cut these into cubes in advance. They're great for snacking and for the lunchbox. Now for the crackers, again, look for crackers that on the ingredient list contain ingredients that you recognize and that you would most likely use in your own kitchen. This ensures that you're going to get an actual real cracker, or if you want to search online and find a homemade cracker recipe, if you have the time to do that, that's awesome too. So to make this Lunchable, I'm actually going to use silicone muffin cups. I find these work really well to build a Lunchable, and I'm gonna put each of my components in a muffin cup, and there you have it. I have my first Lunchable variation: meat, cheese, and crackers. Now for the second Lunchable variation, I'm gonna do hummus, veggie, and pita Lunchable. Now this is probably not a Lunchable that you would find in the traditional trademarked Lunchable brand. But if you have a child who is very adventurous with vegetables or loves hummus, this is a really fun one. London loves this Lunchable. So I'm gonna put hummus in a little dipper cup, and then you can use any kind of veggies. You can use a variety of veggies. You can use one vegetable, whatever works for you and what your child likes. So I'm gonna use some cucumbers and some tomatoes here. And then I'm just gonna cut up some pita, and there you have it. I have my hummus, veg, and pita Lunchable. Okay, so for the third variation, I'm gonna make a pizza Lunchable. Now, this is a very popular Lunchable out there, but we're gonna put a homemade twist on it. So you can either use pita bread, or they sell actually small pitas. I know places like Trader Joe's, and the ingredient list is actually really great. So that's an option. Or you could use large pita and cut them up into small circles. I use a biscuit cutter. Or you could actually use the pizza dough recipe that I provided you, and you can just shape that pizza dough into small, tiny little pizzas, and then you can bake them. These are great to freeze as well for later. So then I'm just gonna add the pizza dough to one of my muffin liners. I'm gonna add some sauce to a little container, and then I'm gonna add some shredded mozzarella cheese that I've shredded ahead of time. And there you have it. Now my kids can build their own little Lunchable style pizzas. Now the great thing about these Lunchables is they are a main, at least that's what I consider them to be, but really when you think about it, they cover a lot of different components of the lunchbox. I mean, depending on your child's appetite, this could be their entire lunch. You could add in some fruit if you wanted, and there you go. You have an entire lunch ready to go, which doesn't take a whole lot of work, and it's something super fun for the kids.